Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the New York City Equal Employment Practices Commission, and this is our 193rd meeting. And I assume we have all read the minutes, and if I could get a motion to approve them, I would appreciate that.
Make a motion to approve? I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Okay. In conversation with Judith, I guess about 2 weeks ago, I forget what day it is anymore. It seemed to me, and it was after my conversation with Ken Standard, when he asked sort of questions like, what do you want me to say? When is it scheduled for? That it dawned on me that although I had put together a sort of an outline of proposal and the chair had commented on and we had had a discussion, there wasn't really unanimous opinion and a structure for it. And it seems to me that in order for us to go forward, we really need to have an agreement on it, an agreement on its structure, and a date certain. Now, Charisse has raised the issue of wanting to have it in this fiscal year, which ends June 30, and in addition, for it to be counted financially in this fiscal year, probably has to be before the end of June, but sometime earlier so that all the payments can be made. And that's assuming that we are going to have to pay something for coffee and breakfast or something, but at the end of the day, we need to decide time of day and day of week, and also some whatever fees are involved in the speakers, and if there is a room rental involved, what pay for that room rental. So all of those are economic issues, which really I think it's the tail wagging the dog. I think they're not as important as our coming to some sort of agreement as to what we want from the public hearing and what we need to do as tasks to go forward. I promised Ken Standard that I would call him back after this meeting today to discuss date and really what we want him to talk about. So with that, I leave it open to Charisse to start us down the road path of coming to some sort of unanimous agreement.
Well, the first thing we need to decide is, I think you said the Ken Standard is available the first
Week in March, in June.
The first week?
Week in June, yeah.
So is everybody available the first week in June? No?
I think I'm in Maryland. Mm-hmm. He's not here.
Second week? Can we give it
I don't,
the end of May or-
I sent it, Judith, I sent you an email on his dates. I don't have.
How about the last week in May or the second week in June? Let's try to narrow it down.
Second week of June is good for me. It looks like last week of May is also good for me, but that's also Memorial Day. I don't know if that matters for other people.
Yes, Memorial Day weekend, right.
Yeah, the Monday is Memorial Day, but either of those work for me, last week of May, second week in June.
And then we have to worry about the alternative speaker, so we need,
Right.
and we
How
need,
about
and,
your availability for those weeks?
I'm about to, since I'm bad about keeping calendars, I'm about to check.
I mean, when is the chair, when is his last day?
March 30th.
March, okay.
For me, the last week of May, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 26th, 27th, 28th, even though I'm sure you wouldn't do it on Friday anyways, but my niece is graduating, so I could only do the 26th, 27th, or 28th. And then the second week of June, everything is fine for me except for the 11th.
So the speaker is available the first and fourth week of June.
First
So
and
you
fourth.
said you can do the 26th?
So he can't do it the
27th, or
second.
28th?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
No, June 11th.
All right, he cannot do it the second week of June, so
Right.
here we are.
He's available the first and fourth week of June.
Yeah, but that part becomes,
Yeah, the fourth week is no good.
Or is it
but
The-
guys, June
No.
1st is a Friday,
No,
that doesn't work.
actually,
So the,
we can pay, we can, actually, we do have some leeway to pay on encumbered, things that have been encumbered.
Okay.
Contracted in June.
so I would look at the
Last week in
June
June.
20, the full week, 22nd through to the 26th, which is the last full week in June.
So I'm out of the state from June 16th to July 16th. I'll be in California that month.
Oh dear.
So, sorry. I don't know, do you need the full complement of the commission? I would love to be here, but I also don't wanna, that's a big swath of time, so I don't wanna hold it up.
Well, it's expected that it's a
Yeah.
commission's public hearing, that the commissioners will be present.
I'm so sorry, I will go mad without a vacation.
So
I understand. Let's go back. The other problem we have is it's now March. To believe that we're gonna be able to do it in May is, I mean, we're smoking funny cigarettes.
Why?
Why? Why is
It's
that?
short time, you gotta invite everybody, you gotta get it all together.
I've put on 1,000-person things in like 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
I
I-
can get it done.
Yeah.
but it's really you all who should make that decision.
No, I think it'll be fun.
Well, then let's go back and look at May. Look at that week that ends, 26, 27, 28. I must say I didn't check with Ken, but I'll deal with that.
That's the memorial.
Yeah.
It's right
That's
before
after.
Memorial.
It's after, isn't it?
Okay.
The weekend, the 25th would have been Memorial Day. So it's after. My prejudice, and I say it stated as that, is to have a morning coffee meeting as opposed to an end of day. But that's a prejudice. I just think people are more apt to be there for breakfast and coffee, and you've got a 2-hour block than trying to do it at the end of the day when people get caught up with work and don't appear. But you guys can answer where you run as many events as I have.
Yeah.
So how about Thursday morning, the 28th, as a working day of May?
And everyone seems to be available on that.
Well, the 3 people here,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean that either speaker is available, or speakers are available, and it doesn't mean that you have a room that's available.
Of course, I mean, we have to find those things, so, but this is a start, so everyone's available on that day. You too?
Yes.
Okay.
Me
So in
too.
terms of giving the speakers leeway, can we also consider the day before and the day after? The Wednesday and the Friday?
I can't do it.
Okay. How about the Tuesday and the Wednesday, the 26th and 27th?
Yeah, but the 26th is right after Memorial Day.
I know, I just want to just know availability in terms of if the speaker might be, so we can give the speaker at least the possibility.
Okay, I will check with Ken.
Okay,
All right.
great, thank you.
Now, should we go, let's go forward to June. You are not available the first week in June, you're in Maryland.
Right.
Okay. Are you available in June, that first week?
I would be available on the second and the third.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to give us enough. And so, and again, from June, that last week in June, you're not available. Arv, are you available that week of the 22nd?
This is the week of June 22nd?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprisingly open from the 23rd to the 26th is open.
Okay,
Morning.
great. Okay. All right, guys, that's where we are. Judith, I understand, so if we look, we would, our preference is 5/28.
Yes.
We can go to either 5/27 and 5/26, and we don't lose anybody. The three of us are available. When you go into June 2nd or 3rd, or the 23rd or the 26th, we lose a commissioner.
Right.
And that's without knowledge of what Commissioner Cabrera's availabilities are. We're just assuming that she's available, but that may or may not be true. Okay. So those are working dates, because we don't know when the date of availability of the second speaker, if she's available at all on any of those days, and when she'd be available.
And just so everyone was in favor of that, the speaker that proposed, Professor Di Tommaso?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
If she's not available, we can check out the Michael version. Comes in. Okay.
Okay.
There's some backup.
Let's, talk about spaces. How many,
Mohini has been doing, research on spaces. So, people already,
okay, how many people, if everybody who has the title of HR or EOC officer in the city were to attend, what's that total number, do we know?
282.
282?
Wow, I guess we do know. But,
Now 282 and a half.
no, let's, and then let's subtract the community boards and say maybe one person may attend in the community board, so it's minus 59. If anybody.
So it's 221?
Yeah, whatever that was.
So let's, for purposes of a
Give and
working
take a
number,
few people.
let's just assume that only half of those people attend. So we're talking about 100 people.
Let's say 150.
Yeah.
Because initially we were also thinking of inviting the council,
The lawyers.
but I don't know if that would be a good idea. I don't see people being forthcoming with the council in the room.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So 150. All right. Now, I blithely said breakfast, but I just want to be sure that everybody agrees that the beginning of the day is better than the end of the day. Okay.
It's up to you guys, but I think the end of the day, it's just my own thing thinking that I think if people can leave, if we do something around, like, let's say 1:30 and have lunch, and people can leave, and their agency, and sign in saying that they went to the meeting and not have to come back, that you may get more attendance, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, you guys have done that,
You think if you break it up or not?
Having it
If
in the
people can
afternoon.
have, if in the
In
afternoon.
other words,
if
if they
we
can
have a
leave
lunch,
early.
And they can leave early and say that they've been at the hearing,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably wouldn't have to come back to work,
Right.
so it may increase attendance at the hearing,
Mm-hmm.
but rather than a morning meeting, I don't know.
One thing I
can't.
can say is, at,
The training,
recently I was at an event for agency personnel officers. It was definitely in the middle of the winter, so but, I mean, there was a decent turnout, in the morning. It was a decent turnout. At another point, I was at an event for training at Do It. And, I'm trying to think which had the better turnout. There was definitely a very decent turnout in the afternoon, so I don't think that the afternoon, I think there may be a feeling that in the afternoon, people may not be paying attention or
No,
not-
the people don't come because they're caught up in work
Yeah, yeah.
and
But,
don't leave their desks.
but I have to say, I was surprised, it was really a substantial turnout and, you know, so it was like standing room. So
Depends on
I've
it.
seen a very good turnout in both. In the afternoon, I think it was more, it seemed to be more substantial than in the morning, and it was kind of like straggling in the morning,
So it is straggling because they're coming in.
Yeah, so that's where my concern is in terms of the morning, or that's my impression.
Is this an optional event for the staff, for the EUs?
yes.
Yes.
They don't have to come.
I mean, I have a preference for morning as well, I just think it's harder to leave your desk once you get in the office.
Yeah.
So, but I think you could make an argument either way, and you may just base it based on the facility.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree that if you do free lunch, you end up picking up more people because it's free lunch. But then it's free breakfast, so it, cuts both ways.
Yeah.
You know what? Since I did say it was the tail wagging the dog, let's see whether the room rental dictates time of day. If it's not available in the morning, then on May 28th, but only available in the afternoon, then our decision has been made by something we can't control.
Right, we can look at, well, we didn't have a date in mind, so.
Right. Yeah, we-
And we're doing, let's assume, a 4-hour block.
Yeah. So you do 8 to 12 or 8 to? You did 9 to 1. You could offer lunch.
Breakfast and lunch?
Coffee and lunch.
Okay, well,
Hmm?
We could go home happy.
What?
they won't want to leave.
Well, it's called, there's a carrot and stick. So the carrot is the coffee in the morning, the stick is you have to stay through the thing to get your free lunch. Why are you laughing at me?
But you know, but actually.
It's the grandmother in me that's showing. What's
Yeah, I think that, the event we went to at CUNY was, like ended like midday, was a morning and lunch. Yeah, so I mean, that can actually be good. But I'll tell you, I really believe the EO officers are definitely gonna come. I mean, I think we'll have a very good turnout among EO staff. Yeah.
So 9 to 1?
Yeah, I mean,
I
we
mean,
can
8
do
o'clock,
that,
I
but
think.
it dictates, the room availability dictates the
I-
time. So we're gonna
I-
aim for, right.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So we're starting with,
That becomes a whole day.
we're starting with 5:28, 9 to 1, if possible. if we can't get 9 to 1, I hate 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
2 to 4 hours. No, we
One
would,
to-
Maybe 12.
12 to 5.
12
Yeah.
to 4.
12 to 4.
Yeah, 12 to 4.
4:30, yeah. This week I want to stay in the work hours.
Yeah, no, yeah. Nobody's staying after 5.
you're lucky if they do 2, never mind. Sorry, we're on public. Don't let me do that. You're gonna do the same thing for the 27th and the 26th, so the same variables in terms of time.
Move it on.
And nobody comes back to us, you just do it, okay?
You mean in terms of the date?
Yes, don't
I've
come
got
back.
it, I've got the
Yeah.
whole date thing now.
Teresa's got it under control.
Done,
We're
finished,
cool.
gone.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, next, the agenda. What do you want Mr. Standard to discuss?
Well, he's your recommendation, so your recommendation was that he discuss his past experiences, or?
To do two things, to set forth the background in the statutory changes, which is 50 years ago, then to discuss his actual experiences, which is how he has faced adversity, my term, in hiring and promotion, what he currently does to try to deal with diversity in the workforce, and counseling Epstein-Becker. And then we're left with the next speaker.
So then every panel member would have to discuss their background and experiences.
I think so.
Right. You're gonna be the EPC panel member,
Perhaps.
or? So we're thinking the panel would be Ken Standard,
Professor Dietz and myself.
right, and somebody from the EPC.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be the chair, but that's not gonna happen unless we have a new chair. by then,
This is,
but
and then
that
who
person-
moderates? You're moderating, or who this is a panel, and then you would be moderating?
Yeah,
And you would expect each panelist to speak for, what, 15 minutes?
yeah, that sounds like a good.
It actually would, to me, sound better if you were on the panel, because you are the most knowledgeable about the workings of the EEPC and what we've done. You have a good historical or institutional knowledge of what's happened, and that we actually find another moderator outside of the EEPC, because it's like they will have this sort of outside perspective that they bring to it in terms of, like, I don't know, engaging the audience.
What would the commission members be doing?
Clapping.
Yeah.
It's the commission's public hearing.
Yeah.
It's not about what we're doing as the EPC. I mean, I can be happy to talk, to speak when it comes to the
Next
the
steps.
polls and the work that we've done, but I think a member of the commission should be
Right.
on the panel.
I'm sorry, I know you guys have gone over this. This is basically a keynote speaker and then a panel discussion. That's what we're talking about. That's the layer that's there for the 4 hours.
We're having,
This is just about introductions, yeah,
Right.
of the panel members.
right,
The other
I'm
stuff that's on
where
the,
ARVA is, which is, I thought we were doing a keynote speaker. The panel concept is a different one. I think where I was using one keynote speaker to set the stage. And yes, it's too legalistic, but we wouldn't be here if the laws hadn't changed. And we're still honoring the change in the law, and we're dealing with what needs to be done going forward. 50 years later, what purportedly was going to be accomplished still has a long way to go to really accomplish what it set out to do. So he sets the stage. And then the other speaker, as I understood it, was talking about really some of the next steps, what's involved in the hiring process, what the inhibitions are, why we haven't gotten to where we should be today with a workforce. And then we're left to, I mean, I don't know what role I play or any role, what any commissioner plays, but then we're left with a discussion of what you, the commission, what we've discovered, what the actual practices is from your survey and what people are interested in, and then next steps. I mean, I'm quite simplistic.
So this outline,
Right.
which everybody received, no, you're not seeing it today because you received it twice already by email.
I believe you.
This was Commissioner Reese's outline.
Right.
Under the keynote address, there's 3 speakers here. There's him, there's
Right.
well, we're not gonna ask. There's the other person who we're not gonna ask. And then we were thinking we can replace that person with the person you suggested, and then a member of the EPC will talk about the cumulative cost to the city.
Right.
So we're still going according to this, aren't we?
Yes, but I don't think we had that as a panel, I guess. It's all right. I didn't see it as a panel, I saw it as 3 distinct speakers.
Well, it may
It
be
doesn't make
3
any
distinct
difference.
speakers, but we have to start off as,
Fine, got it.
right, as sort of saying, okay, we're having a discussion, these are the presenters, and
These are the
this is their
participants and the
background and
residents. Right.
experience. Right.
Okay.
I will pay $5 for a copy of You keep
I
holding
can-
up,
Yeah,
but will not,
teasing us.
but will not hold up close enough that I can read it.
Because we're not going according to this, so we're discussing whether or not we're gonna even
Right, the structure.
exclude
Right.
some of
I'll
these
still pay
things.
$5 for it.
Let me tell you what you need to do.
Yeah, let's
Actually,
start
You know
there.
where it
and
is. You wanna get you wanna
Yeah.
just print?
Yes.
copies for me?
3,
No problem.
I don't have mine with me either. Can we start there and we can mark it up? Thank you.
Sure. So, but may I suggest that we mark it up and then come back and discuss it?
No.
Do we do the group process? Not use a group process?
Only because we should probably go on with the rest of the meeting and then. I
It
know,
won't take that long.
I can.
Let's,
okay.
you wanna go on, you wanna come back to the public hearing? You wanna adjourn it for a second and then come back to it? Is that what you'd like to do?
I mean, we can share individual copies and then we can go on with the meeting while. No, you guys will be distracted. Okay.
Yeah,
We can
you
do that.
can't do that. Come on.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I was saying about number 1 is that the second person will actually be replaced by Judith's suggestion because we didn't want to have.
2
I think
lawyers.
Commissioner Daniel and the chair
Right.
expressed that they didn't think we should have that many lawyers. Commissioner Reese, you would be the one,
Dealing with the economic cost,
or just
something.
eventually, but at this stage, everyone would be doing their background and experience, I would think. Everyone that will be speaking that day.
It's more, okay. All right. I think there's a subtitle of this, which is what Sharice and I were talking about before, but it mixes in with what the mayor seems to be focusing on, and it's achieving diversity in the workforce, whatever diversity means. So it's the 1964 Civil Rights Act, a continuum, past, present, and future, achieving diversity in the workforce.
I would get rid of past, present, and future and just put achieving diversity.
Yeah. And take out the 1964 Civil Rights Act?
No, ideally it's past, present, and future, keep,
Ah.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Of achieving.
well, doesn't say anything, like it's
Oh, just
superfluous. Just
take
out
out-
past, present, and future and add achieving diversity.
I get it.
Yeah.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. Done.
So we can speak a little bit about the cost, and then we can get into if we wanna do the.
Why don't I
polling
take,
with-
why don't I just take what's happening today, which is what I had Caesar doing. Put C into it. Right? So then you only have two speakers. Two keynotes. One giving you legal history and experience, the second dealing with her, history and isn't it? It's experience in hiring.
Her
Isn't that what
research.
Her research, right?
On hiring, on employment, on the status of labor. I can't say employment practices, but rather, yeah, I guess, research on employment practices,
On current employment practices. We're setting the stage in number one. We're talking about, number two is, we're talking about costs and and audits. And then three is still preparing for tomorrow.
Yes, but I don't know necessarily if we wanna call it that. I think we can, something like that, because we're really speaking to the EO and the HR people about
How about
what their role is.
their challenges, your challenges or challenges, current challenges?
Hmm.
Current challenges?
Employment practices, current challenges and solutions.
Terrific, love it. It's the easiest sale you made today.
Okay, I must ask, I don't know if I want to know the answer to this question, but did you guys try to take the polls? Did I say?
No,
Sorry.
I promised, but I've not met my promise.
Okay.
I spent a week learning how to ski. Does
Really?
that help?
Uh,
In the French Alps?
no,
That's my current
it doesn't
excuse.
help me.
Would you give us a deadline of this Friday in responding to you? Like tomorrow?
Sure, it's
How long
only
does it
gonna
take?
take,
I can do it, we can do it here, I'll just
Actually,
open my
yeah.
laptop. At the end of the meeting, when we adjourn, I'll take the poll before I go.
okay, it's 2 polls.
Okay, great, open up my laptop and I'll do it before I leave.
I don't have my laptop with me, I'll do it when I go home.
You can do it on my computer.
I'll do it on your computer.
Okay.
Put it up for me. Okay.
I see Commissioner Rice like, I'm just looking at my.
I'm reading about these two, I'm reading about Candace Standard and Michelle Coleman Mays.
But Michelle Coleman Mays, we're not inviting.
Okay.
She's out of it.
All right.
So, okay, we'll get some feedback on the polls. And so a part of what's happening today can be discussing the poll results based on their feedback about what's happening today. So that gives the attendees a stake in the conversation.
Yeah.
Good.
Right, so that could be a role for your commissioners, to be part of these 3 discussions?
Right. And I definitely can be a part of the poll, the discussion of the polls.
Okay.
I know I'm late to this party, but I actually do really like this format, I think it's really good. I would just be, my only concern is to make sure that I would do a keynote rather than a panel. And especially if Mr. Standard is a fairly powerful speaker, I think he'd be fine. But because if you do a panel And then you also have this, the presentation, you have a lot of people being spoken to before they get to actually talk in the conversation. So, I liked what was, the format that was originally given.
Okay, so it would only be him, not talking about the cumulative costs and all of the cumulative costs of the city would go down to what's happening today, rather than be up in the historical background. You see what I'm saying?
No, we have two keynotes, so let's be clear here. We have two keynotes. We have one from Ken, and the second keynote, we don't have Michelle. We have this professor talking about her research and hiring practices.
Right, but you were saying that you think that we should only have one keynote speaker, correct?
If I was, yes, if I was in charge of the world, I would give longer time for people to have their discussions and have one keynote.
Then we don't have the professor.
Okay, and so then in this, okay, so.
We can have the professor in the breakout discussion is what I'm understanding, in the second part, that they're preparing for.
Yeah, you could either have her key it up so that, because obviously she can't be in 3 discussions at a time, so either the professor could kind of key up the conversation. So she becomes the introduction to that. But yeah, I wouldn't, especially in just a 4-hour block, I would not have
Right.
2 keynotes.
Yeah.
If we were doing the day,
Right,
I would definitely do a morning and an afternoon keynote.
Right,
For
free.
4 hours.
And actually, considering she would be speaking about research and her findings, that might well be a good thing then to have.
She leads into the discussion of what our research has shown.
right,
Yes.
right.
So she leads into the employment practices, current kind of challenges and solutions. She starts with A, what she's the research arm, and then B is our results. Our actual results, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then we,
And who will be presenting our poll results? That will be,
I can't hear you.
as who will be presenting the EPC's poll results?
I would be presenting it, but we just said that that's the discussion
The
for
commi-
our commissioners.
The commissioners would be presenting it.
Yeah,
Oh, I see, good, okay.
So the commissioners would be dealing with it. Okay. Now,
I'd like to eliminate
Sharice.
number 5.
before you get to eliminating number 5, Sharice does number 4 as the ED. She does the summation and next steps and the creation of the advisory committees. Hello?
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
what you do.
I mean, I think what would be the good way to create advisory committees would be to have sort of a sign up at the end. Cause that would be at the end of 4 hours.
Yeah, but you need to explain it and then to give them an opportunity, tell them where to sign up.
Right, that's
All of
what I
that,
would
so
do.
that's all.
I wouldn't go through the motions of creating the committee there, but I think I can tell them what it's about
Okay.
and.
Now, can we do our chapter from the city charter and the results and recommendations from the polls? And we don't necessarily have to give everybody the legislation.
I think the best practice and things like that,
Okay. So
maybe we can strike those.
can we put together, this is essentially a leave behind. I mean, as part of the thing we're presenting with our outline of what they're gonna see, so you're gonna have to give, the bios of the speakers and whatever. I'd like to have some meat in it, and the meat would be the EPC's chapter from the charter, and perhaps some executive summary of the poll, of the actual results, since it's gonna be part of the discussion, so you do an executive summary. I don't know that we have best practices, and resources in my mind was where you can come to for resources for answers to some of your questions.
I think resources, perhaps the speakers can provide resources, if this lady can provide some information about her research, and
All right, that's gonna be a thing in doing, but at any rate, I think depending on, we should be printing 150 of these wonderful things, because we probably, in fact, we probably should be printing 282 of them, so that you can distribute it to everybody, even those people who did not attend. So everybody that's invited ought to be able to get a copy of this.
what is that, 100 and,
You had 282,
no, but we.
221.
Right, 221.
It's 2:23.
Okay?
Okay.
282 minus 59. All right, so we have decided on a date. We have decided on a time of day. I believe we've all agreed on the revised schedule. I would ask
I'll
that.
send a revised
Hmm?
copy. to the
Yes,
commissioner.
I would ask that you send a revised copy around to everybody, so that we have it for our files.
With
And
a copy of the poll.
I'm probably overstating it, but I think, are we all in agreement, guys? Okay. Don't want to put words into anybody's mouth more than I usually do.
Okay, great,
All
I'm
right,
happy.
so let's get on to the report on the status of the audit compliance monitoring.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks very
You made your-
much.
your contribution.
And in advance, thank you very much for the work you're gonna have to do. I mean, it's very easy for us, we just dictate and you implement.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so good morning again. So, we have 3 agencies that have been through compliance monitoring and have implemented all the corrective actions. They are the Office of the Manhattan Borough President, the Department of Finance, and the Department of Probation. So there are resolutions for your vote.
I move that we accept resolution 2015/01OC-2, resolution 2015/836C-3, and resolution 2015/781C4.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously approved.
Okay, and there are 4 agencies that are currently being monitored for implementation of corrective actions. These are the Office of Emergency Management, the Administration for Children's Services, the Department of Consumer Affairs, and the Department of Cultural Affairs.
Okay, I move that we approve.
Oh, no, they are currently being.
Oh, we don't have to do
monitored.
anything.
There's nothing to vote on. Okay, just letting you know their status. And the next issue is the New York City Council. Right, okay, the New York City Council has, at the last meeting, the commission decided to extend the compliance monitoring period for the New York City Council, which still has 3 outstanding corrective actions to implement. And I totally anticipated that they would be able to do so within the time frame. Actually, it was in the December meeting that was decided that they would be able to do it within the 90-day period, after which their own internal procedure was, it was set by their own internal procedure. However, the letter which was sent to the city council on February 10th, which let the speaker know about the extension of the compliance monitoring period, the speaker responded on February 27th and stated that the council as a legislative arm of the city government is an independent entity, and that their participation in the EPC's audit and compliance was voluntary, and so therefore they declined the extension of compliance. So, we recommend that the commission request the law department make a definitive determination on the jurisdiction, whether the EPC's jurisdiction to audit all city agencies applies to the city council, considering that the city council is comprised of 51 members, elected officials, and the public advocate, which makes it within the definition, the charter definition of a city agency.
I'm surprised the law department hasn't done this already. I mean, we have had issues with the city council before, so is there a reason why this hasn't been done? I'm just curious.
Well, in 2007, when we started the first audit of the city council, the law department did not give a determination. I actually spoke with the first corporation counsel, and he stated that it was not a definitive determination, but that he found no problem with the EPC conducting an audit of the city council, and informed the chair or the general counsel of city council at that time that we can agree to disagree. And so that is how it stood. There has not been a definitive
Is it
statement.
still the same,
First Corporation Council?
First Corporation Council, is he still there?
I believe so.
So he's still there. Of course, everybody else has changed.
Right. And he is the First Corporation Council who ushered in Decision 1190, which set forth the coverage of the EPC's jurisdiction over various
Everybody in the beginning.
agencies.
In the beginning.
So, I see no reason why it would not be clear that the EPC has jurisdiction over the city council, but I think we just need to have it stated in writing definitively.
Judith, let's just play it out for a minute. Let's assume that we get that, and then we go back to the city council, and they continue to maintain that they are a legislative body and independent, and don't care what the mayor's lawyer says. I'm just playing.
Then the commission is within its, I believe it's within its authority to publish a report of we conducted an audit, we made a determination. We're at the point, because they did not implement the corrective actions, we are at the point to issue a determination of partial noncompliance. And so, the fact is that the agency did participate, whether voluntarily or not, did participate in the audit and the compliance monitoring period. And they implemented changes.
Some of the
in their-
corrective actions,
Most
not all.
of the changes in their employment practices. And so,
Is the sticking point hiring practices?
yes.
Yeah.
As well as evaluation of managers.
Right. Okay.
So at this point, the decision is whether or not the commission is gonna decide if they're going to hold the compliance period open until, and request this ruling from the law
Clarification.
department, or if we're gonna find them in non-compliance, close the compliance period, and then request clarification.
Well, I think we play the game, so we go out, go to the law department. I can't imagine it's gonna take Jeffrey very long to get back to us. And then we'll see where we are.
So we're not gonna make a ruling
We're not making a
a
ruling today.
determination of non-compliance.
At least I don't think we make a ruling. I think it's premature. Let's see what happens. I don't-
Okay, so we have a letter
Okay.
that, a draft letter that, would you like to, did you distribute this with the materials to
There's
the?
something I just realized, I did not distribute this with the materials. So, shall I provide everyone a copy to look at? And,
Why don't you just email, can she send it by email? And then you
Yeah.
guys
okay,
can return it with comments.
yeah, that would be best. Okay, great, thank you.
That's it.
Done.
We're up
The
to O.
annual report is ready, but Mohini's doing the table of contents and just putting the attachments on it. So what I'll do is I'll email back also, and if you guys have any comments, you can,
Okay,
I guess it's fine.
all right. Is there any new business, guys?
The hearing is-
When is the annual report due?
I didn't put it
Right, good.
When is the annual report due?
February.
The end of this month? The end
No,
of last
this is
month?
March, right,
The end of last month it's due? Overdue?
right.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you need us to approve it?
no. I mean, I would look your comments if there are any, but I just did the executive summary like last year. It's pretty straight, it's factual, what's been done during the year.
Got it.
and-
Okay.
And all of the resolutions that the commission voted on as attachments. That's it, pretty much.
Okay. New business?
She already spoke to me about that. Do you want to say something about it?
Well, I just wanted to,
Will anyone be attending the city council hearing with us?
Me?
Right.
I'm sorry, you already informed me when the city council. You're right.
Right.
Yeah,
March 16th. Is it at 10:30 or 10?
I'll let you know.
Thank you. It's next door, right?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Got it.
2:54. Okay.
All right. Can I then adjourn the regular meeting and we go into executive session? All right?